Hey friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am going to start new series of Pokemon What If. I hope you will like it. In this series, we will get to see if What If Ash and Serena traveled together. Kanto Arc Part 4. I hope you will like the story and like the video. Please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment if you all want me to make animated video. Let's start the video. Chapter 4, Pokemon Center Attack. Here we are at the beginning of next chapter. This chapter will mark the introduction to Team Rocket. Enjoy. Unknown location. Somewhere out in the forest, there is a big white building. This building hasn't ever been discovered by anyone, and what was the purpose of this building being there? Inside this building lived a tall man with neatly combed brown hair. He wore a white suit drinking a glass of red wine with a Pokemon that resembles a white cat with a red gem on his head. A buzzer goes off with the man sitting in his chair. "Who is it?" the man questioned. "It's Proton, may I please come in?" Proton asked. "Yes, you may Proton," the man answered. The door opens and coming in was a man with teal hair and teal eyes wearing a black polo shirt with a red R on it, black pants, a black hat, white gloves, and white boots carrying a black bag. This man happens to be the Proton guy. "Giovanni, our Pokemon tournament scheme in Viridian City was a success," Proton said holding a belt containing Pokeballs. "Really? Tell me what happened," Giovanni asked. "We hosted a Pokemon battle tournament, and we offered the winner a chance to join Team Rocket. He refused to join our terrorist organization, so we killed him and took his Pokemon," Proton explained pulling a severed head out of his bag. "Here is the little shit who refuses to join us." "Excellent work Proton," Giovanni said with an evil smirk while sipping his wine. "You will be a raise and a first-class meal tomorrow." "Thank you sir," Proton said until he saw three other members of Team Rocket. One was a woman with long red hair that went straight back, the other was a man with blue hair, and they both wore white uniforms with the red R on them along with black gloves and black boots. The third person with them was a Meowth who could walk on two legs. He then grabbed the Meowth and threw it across the room, nearly hitting Giovanni, causing him to spill his wine. "Meowth," the Meowth cried. "My suit!" Giovanni roared, glaring at the Meowth. "It was his fault," Proton lied, pointing to the Meowth. "Of course, it was his fault Proton. These three always screw every fucking thing up," Giovanni screamed. "Proton threw me at you," Meowth told Giovanni. "You were in the way, you worthless cat," Giovanni yelled, kicking Meowth to the wall. "You may go now Proton." Proton walked away with a smirk at the two Rockets. Those two clearly knew that Proton threw Meowth across the room. Giovanni glared at the two Rockets. "Jesse, James, get over here," Giovanni screamed as they went over to their boss. "Yes boss, what can we do for you?" Jesse said happily, pleading so they don't have to deal with his rage once more. "Yes, lovely boss, what can we do?" James spoke. "You're talking. Meowth spilled my wine and ruined my suit. This suit cost me 2,000 poke dollars. Giovanni yelled. "The money that will be given to me for a new suit will come out of your paychecks." "But Proton threw Meowth at you, because he hates us," James said. "I don't want to hear any excuses, you always screw every arceus damn thing up," Giovanni told them. "This is why I don't want you doing anything. Come to think of it, why did I even give you admin ranks?" Jesse, James, and Meowth didn't have an answer to Giovanni's question. They have been admins for Team Rocket for the past couple of years but had little success. Most of the time they were finding ways to mess up, and somehow, they keep getting away with it. The one who really couldn't stand their failures the most was Proton, which is why he always abuses the three Rockets, and Giovanni always takes his side. "Because we're the nicest to you no matter what crap you give us," James nicely said. "I understand you appreciate me, but if we're going to achieve world domination, I will not stand bumbling idiots fucking everything up," Giovanni yelled, "and you just messed up my suit. Come on, we can do anything for you," Jesse begged. Please boss, give us a mission to prove that we're not screw-ups. Meowth cried. Giovanni angrily scratched his chin hearing what they had to say. Sure, the three keep messing up, but he had to think of something they could do. Okay, here's what you can do, Giovanni told the trio. Tonight I want you to raid the Viridian City Pokemon Center and steal all the Pokemon inside. You bastards should not be able to screw this one up. We'll do it, boss, trust us, you can count on us, Meowth said, saluting the boss. Viridian City. Ash and Serena arrived in Viridian City carrying Froakie and Fennekin, hoping to give them care at the Pokemon Center. Sure, they had Pokeballs, but for right now they wanted to keep the two Pokemon out, and Ash had a Pidgeotto that was probably weakened from the battle she had with Froakie. I see it, I see the Pokemon Center, Ash said, pointing at a big building with a red roof. Great, I just hope Fennekin is alright, Serena said, looking at Fennekin. Ash and Serena arrived at the Pokemon Center. The two were hoping to get some rest, get their Pokemon back in good shape, and retrieve the part to their Pokédex. Viridian City Pokemon Center. They entered the building and came across a nurse who was at the reception desk. She had pink hair, wearing a white nurse uniform. Welcome to the Viridian City Pokemon Center, said the nurse. Hey there, our Pokemon are worn out after fighting a flock of Spearow, Ash said, giving the nurse Froakie along with Pidge's Pokeball. Can you look after them? Serena pleaded, giving her Fennekin. Of course, the nurse answered, taking Froakie and Fennekin along with Pidge's Pokeball off Ash and Serena's hands. As soon as the nurse took Ash and Serena's Pokemon in for treatment, the two decided to just sit on the couch in the waiting area and relax. It was already hell of a day due to the fact they almost were killed by a flock of Spearow. Well, our first day was total crap, Ash said. It wasn't all that bad, Serena told Ash. You got a Pidgey, and we got to see a majestic bird fly over us, giving us those items. If the two recalled, Ash did have the rainbow wing in his backpack along with a pouch of Scared Ash. Serena also had a pouch of Scared Ash, but for the most part, the day was bad with the Spearow attacking them, their Pokemon being too weak to fight, and the fact they had to be saved by another Pokemon trainer. I guess you're right, Ash replied as he looked at the phones. Let's call our moms. Ash and Serena went up to the video phones to give their moms a call. It was going to be hard to explain that they were nearly killed by a flock of Spearow along with Froakie and Fennekin. Serena dialed the number that went towards the Gabina residence as they decided to call her moms first. Hello, this is Grace, Grace said as she appeared on the screen. Hey mom, Serena replied as she saw her mom. Serena, Grace said while gasping, looking at her daughter and Ash. Jade, Delia, Serena, and Ash are on the phone. Delia, my mom is there? Ash questioned. After a few seconds, Serena's other mom Jade and Ash's mom Delia all appeared on the screen to see their babies. The mothers were concerned as it looked like they were beaten up by something. Ash, is that you? Delia asked in worry. Hey mom, what are you doing at Serena's house? Ash asked. Ash, you know it's game night for the ladies, Delia answered as he saw a white mat with colored dots with Rose in a pretzel-like position. Mom, are you playing Twister? Ash jokingly questioned when Delia gave an awkward pause. Yes, but we're going to leave Rose there in that position, so we can beat her, Delia answered. I won this round, bitches. Rose yelled out. But we got to get serious, Ash, what happened to you and Serena? Delia asked in worry. Me and Serena were attacked by a flock of Spearow. Froakie and Fennekin tried to fight them off, but they were completely burned out. Thankfully another Pokemon trainer came in to save us, Ash explained. Oh, my Arceus, you two almost were killed. Jade exclaimed. Mom, it may have been my fault. Ash caught a Pidgey, and I wanted to catch a Pokemon of my own. I thought it was a Pidgey, and when Fennekin attacked, it was a Spearow, Serena explained. I might have ticked that Spearow off, and Spearow summoned its flock to try and kill us. Are you two alright? Delia questioned in concern. We're fine now, we got some bruises that we'll rest off for the next few days, Ash answered. Also, Froakie and Fennekin are getting treatment here at the Viridian City Pokemon Center. Oh, so you kids are in Viridian City, Grace said. Weren't you going to get something for your special Pokédex that Professor Oak gave you too? Oh yeah, I was so exhausted that I've almost forgot about that, Ash stated. We'll let the nurse know about what we came to get, but for now I want me and Ash to rest up along with our Pokemon, Serena replied. That's good kids, the health of your Pokemon and yourselves always should come first, Jade pointed out. Thanks Mom, Serena said. Hey, my body can handle anything you throw at me, Rose yelled out, come back here and lose bitches. We got to get going. Mrs. Green is up for another round, Grace said. Okay Mom, Serena replied. Hey Mom, next time you have a game night, just play an Arceus Dam board game, Ash suggested. That's what we're going to do, Delia said looking at Rose in amusement. Good night and take care of yourselves. I love you Mom, Ash replied. I love you Moms, Serena replied. We love you too, Delia, Grace, and Jade all said in union as they hung up. Ash and Serena stared at the blank screen to know their moms were going to worry every day about their safety. After the events with the flock of Spearow and remembering the words of the Pokemon trainer that no one will always come to their rescue, Ash and Serena knew that they had to know what they were going to do. Right now, there was only two things that were on their minds. One was the Froakie and Fennekin get better and do you think our moms could not play any more games where it looks like they're having sex, Ash jokingly said. Serena just burst into laughter as it did get her mind off the things that just happened. Ash! Serena exclaimed laughing, what the hell is going through your head? Serena continued to laugh at what Ash said. She was getting teary-eyed, but she eventually settled down. Ash could only brush the back of his head knowing that was an embarrassing thing to say. Sorry, Ash replied in a bit of a funny way. Despite all the laughter, something caught Ash's attention. Walking around the Pokemon Center is what appeared to be a yellow mouse-like creature with red circles on its cheeks. Hey, Ash said looking at the creature, is that a Pikachu? Ash correctly identified the yellow rodent as a Pikachu. Pikachu was showing signs of sending out electricity when he saw the human. Pikachu angrily replied. What the? Ash stated as Pikachu ran off. That Pikachu didn't seem friendly, Serena said in a worried tone. Why, what did we do? Ash questioned himself. Pikachu didn't seem to have a good attitude towards Ash and Serena. Ash wondered why Pikachu immediately didn't like Ash or Serena. Then, the nurse came back into the waiting room looking at Ash and Serena. Excuse me, you're the trainers of Froakie and Fennekin, correct? The nurse asked. Yeah, how are they doing? Serena asked holding her hands pleading. They'll be fine, the two just need a good night's sleep, the nurse answered. Oh, thank you, Ash said giving out a sigh of relief. What about Pidgey? Pidgey could use some rest too, the nurse told Ash. Okay, Ash replied. Ash and Serena were relieved that their Pokemon were alright, so at least they could sleep in peace tonight. There was still one thing that went on in their heads, and that was the Pikachu they just saw. Excuse me, we saw a Pikachu run in here, Serena told the nurse. A Pikachu? The nurse questioned. Yeah, the Pikachu looked at us in a disgusting way like we're nothing and sparked up its cheeks, Ash explained. We didn't do anything except sit. The nurse was deeply concerned after hearing about the Pikachu. That Pikachu is part of our Pokemon Center, and it's been considered a bit of a Black Mariup, the nurse explained. Black Mariup? Serena questioned. Yeah, Pikachu just hasn't been able to trust any of its previous trainers, probably because they mistreat the little guy, the nurse explained. I decided to take Pikachu in to be part of the Pokemon Center and make this building his loving home. Unfortunately, Pikachu can't seem to stand me or anyone else. As Ash and Serena heard this, it reminded them of the story Professor Sycamore told them about Froakie and Fennekin as they were affected as eggs when Siegfried came to go on a murder spree. The two Pokemon couldn't seem to trust humans, but Ash and Serena looked like were their one and only acceptations. Not even Professor Sycamore could gain their trust. That's so sad, the fact so many trainers have given up on Pikachu. Now the little guy doesn't want anyone to be its trainer, Ash said looking down on the ground. That was the same way with my Fennekin and his Froakie, but it wasn't because of trainer mistreatment, it was because they didn't want to open up to humans after a hunter ruthlessly killed their families, Serena explained. I see, I'm sorry for their losses, the nurse said. Thanks, Ash quietly replied. And now I'm the only human Fennekin seems to love while Ash is the only human Froakie seems to love, Serena explained. Really, what got them to like you? The nurse asked. I think it was the fact when they hatched out of their eggs, they saw our faces and how happy we were. I don't know if we have some sort of presence that allows our Pokemon to connect with us, Ash said, who saw the Pikachu yet again. Hey, maybe we can do that with Pikachu. Well, go ahead, said the nurse. Be careful, Ash, Serena replied. Ash carefully went up to Pikachu. Pikachu just stood right where it was looking at Ash with a glare and ready to shock him. Ash slowly brought himself closer to the electric mouse Pokemon, but he wasn't going to touch him. Ash just wanted to talk to Pikachu. Hey there Pikachu, Ash said to the Pikachu. Pikachu, Pikachu said ruthlessly. Hey, I just want to talk to you, Ash told Pikachu. Pikachu, what's wrong? Pikachu said in confusion. I heard about your situation you had in the past with other humans, Ash told Pikachu. What have they done to you in the past? Pikachu just stood there trying to process what Ash was saying. Serena was thankful that Pikachu didn't zap Ash to a crisp yet. Pikachu was smart enough to realize that Ash does not know how to speak or hear Pikachu. Pikachu, said Pikachu sticking out his tongue. Come on, talk to me. I can be your friend, Ash told Pikachu. In fact, we have two Pokemon who deal with a similar situation, not wanting to trust humans. Pikachu questioned. Look, I know you can't handle whatever your previous trainers have put you through, but not all trainers are like that. I can prove that for you if you want, Ash told Pikachu. Pikachu heard the words of Ash, but Pikachu chose not to accept his words. Pikachu just walked away from Ash and he felt disappointed. Serena didn't like the look on Ash's face when he failed to get in touch with Pikachu. It's okay Ash, you tried, Serena said, putting her hand on Ash's shoulder. Yeah, but I don't understand what Pikachu's problem is, Ash said to himself. Me neither, the nurse replied, it's probably the pain of having to keep leaving trainers. Ash and Serena just wondered what could be wrong with that little Pikachu. Maybe that it had so many trainers, that Pikachu just gave up. Pikachu did take one more look at the boy and gave a little questioning yet curious look. Pikachu wandered into the break room of the Pokemon Center, putting what he dealt with behind. There was one thing that was on Pikachu's mind, and it was on the counter. Pikachu's eyes turned into hearts as it saw the love of its life, a shiny red bottle filled with ketchup. After Pikachu ran out again, Ash and Serena walked with the nurse to the desk. There was another piece of business they needed to take care of. Excuse me, but there was something else we needed from you, Ash told the nurse. What is it? The nurse asked. Serena went into Ash's backpack and brought out the giant Pokédex that was given to them. They knew that the special part needed was going to be picked up in the Pokemon Center. Me and Ash are going to be traveling together, and Professor Oak gave us a big Pokédex to share. He told us that you had a special part for this Pokédex, Serena told the nurse, holding up the giant Pokédex. Oh yeah, I remember getting something in the mail about that, the nurse said. I told him to pick it up here, but since you have it and you're here, I can give it to you. Wow, thank you, Serena said. The nurse was walking over to the back room to retrieve the part needed for the giant Pokédex. Then something terrifying happened. 2 Pokémon tackled the windows, breaking the glass. What was that? Ash exclaimed as he saw the windows get shattered. One of the Pokémon was a purple snake with yellow eyes, and the other was a floating purple ball with white eyes and gas coming out of its body. Those 2 Pokémon happened to be an Ekans and a Coughing. Coughing unleashed a smog to cloud up the area. Who's there? Serena yelled out. Prepare for trouble, a woman in the shadows of the smog said. Make it double, a man in the shadows of the smog said. The smog cleared, revealing the woman with long red hair that went straight back and the man with blue hair. They began to recite their motto. To protect the world from devastation, the woman recited. To unite all people within our nation, the man recited. To denounce the evil of truth and love, the woman recited. To extend our reach to the stars above, the man recited. Jesse, the woman recited. James, the man recited. Team Rocket blast off at the speed of light, Jesse recited. Surrender now or prepare to fight, James recited. Meowth, that's right, Meowth recited as he jumped in. Ash, Serena, and the nurse all stood in shock as if these 3 crooks were going to attack the Pokémon Center. All right everyone, you're going to hand over every Pokémon in this building, Jesse demanded the nurse. Excuse me, this is a hospital for sick and injured Pokémon, the nurse yelled out. You heard her, this is not a place for criminals to come in and harm Pokémon who are too weak to defend themselves. Ash retorted. Oh really, James said, putting down a bag. James had a bag on him, and he put it down to open it up. James opened the bag and was startled that he found a foot-long sub sandwich. James took out the sandwich and he just looked at it. A sandwich? Serena questioned, you're going to attack us with a sandwich? It was supposed to be a gun, James stuttered. Team Rocket headquarters. Proton was walking into the locker room to go on his lunch break. As an executive for an evil criminal organization, nothing got to anyone like a good meal. Can't wait to have that footlong, Proton said as he got his black bag off the table. As Proton opened the bag, he notices that there is a military-style rifle and not a footlong sandwich. A rifle? Where the fuck is my sandwich? Proton yelled, punching the wall, those bastards better not have taken my footlong. Viridian City Pokémon Center. James, did you grab Proton's lunch by mistake? Jesse nervously questioned. I think so, James stuttered. We're going to have our legs broken, Jesse muttered. Forget that, we can attack those twerps and that nurse with our Pokémon, Meowth told James and Jesse. Right, let's take all of the Pokémon, Jesse said, pointing towards the nurse. Everyone was at a standstill. Ash and Serena had no Pokémon as Ash's Froakie and Pidgey and Serena's Fennekin were still recovering. How were they going to fight Ekans and Coughing without any Pokémon? I know we don't have any Pokémon, but I'm going to attack them head on, Ash said, raising his fists. Just get our Pokémon to safety. Ash, don't, Serena begged. That's suicide, you can't fight them without any Pokémon, the nurse told Ash. Do you have any other options? Ash questioned as Ekans and Coughing were coming in. Ash was right, no one had a Pokémon to defend themselves with. Fighting them head on might be their best option. The only thing Serena and the nurse could do was agree with him. Okay, I'll get the Pokémon transferred to another Pokémon Center, the nurse told Ash. Okay, Ash replied as he saw Serena on his side. Ash, I want to fight with you too, Serena said. No, I can't let you get hurt, Ash told Serena. Ash, we're going to be in this together. I might as well join in, Serena retorted. We can't just defend the Pokémon in this Pokémon Center, but our Pokémon too. The 2 Pokémon were getting closer, and time was running out. The nurse went into the back room to get the Pokemon transferred. Serena was right on the mark too, even though Ash was trying to protect the nurse, the Pokemon, Froakie and Pidgey. Serena also had to protect Fennekin. "Alright, just be careful," Ash replied. With that, Ash and Serena took a charge at Coughing and Ekans. Jesse and James smirked at the fact that those two kids were going to counter without Pokemon. "Ekans, use Wrap on those twerps," Jesse ordered. "Ekans." Ekans cried out, wrapping Ash and Serena. Ash and Serena were now caught in a bind as they couldn't move. The two struggled trying to get out, but Ekans's grip was too tight. "I can't move," Ash cried out, trying to break free. "Looks like you're trapped, and now you're doomed to die," James said with an evil smirk. "Coughing, use Smog on the twerps." "Coughing!" Coughing yelled out, using Smog. The poisonous smoke clouded up the area and Ash and Serena had to hold their breath. Two things were now preventing them from breathing: the wrap of Ekans wrapping them tightly, and Coughing Smog for them to hold their breath. "Alright, you two, finish the job," Jessie ordered her Ekans and James's Coughing as she turned to James and Meowth. "James, Meowth, let's get the Pokemon." "Right away," James and Meowth said in union. The two ran to the back room in hopes of getting the nurse and obtaining all the Pokemon inside. Ash and Serena were now struggling to break free from Death's grip from Ekans and Coughing. Meanwhile, Pikachu was hearing commotion as he was admiring the bottle of ketchup in his arms. Pikachu walked out with the bottle only to come across Jessie, James, and Meowth, who tripped over Pikachu. Pikachu dropped the ketchup bottle, and it broke, and the trio were flat on their faces. "Hey, watch where you're going, you yellow rodent!" Meowth yelled out. Pikachu saw the broken bottle of ketchup, and the mouse Pokemon was starting to get teary-eyed as he saw the love of its life be shattered to pieces. "What, crying over Arceus damn ketchup?" Jessie said, looking at the Pikachu. Pikachu was crying, and then looked up at the Team Rocket trio in anger. Pikachu hated the fact that they broke his beloved bottle of ketchup. "Quit your crying, we got Ekans and Coughing tangling those twerps up in the lobby while we get these Pokemon," James told the Pikachu. Pikachu was angry, and then it unleashed a thunder shock for that ketchup bottle. Jessie, James, and Meowth were all electrocuted by that little Pikachu's electric power. The trio fell to the ground and moaned in defeat. Pikachu then remembered a second ago what James said about twerps being tangled up in the lobby. Pikachu remembered the boy that was trying to reason with him a moment ago. He was being kind enough to know what was going on with him, and then looked back at the two humans along with the Meowth that they were going to bring harm. Pikachu realized by what he heard from James, that the boy and possibly the girl with him were not going to bring any harm to him. With that, Pikachu make a jump for the lobby where he saw Coughing unleashing its Smog and Ekans holding Ash and Serena with a wrap. The two Pokemon trainers looked like were passed out, and Pikachu then showed a panicked expression. That boy was trying to be friends with him, and now here he is along with his possible girlfriend having their oxygen supply cut off. "Pika!" Pikachu cried out as he unleashed a quick attack on Coughing. Coughing was slammed into Ekans's head, causing the snake Pokemon to become dazed and weaken the grip, releasing Ash and Serena, who slumped onto the floor. Pikachu was in a battle stance as Ekans and Coughing began to attack right back. "Pika-Chu!" Pikachu yelled out, unleashing a thunder shock on the two Pokemon, knocking them out. Pikachu ran up to Ash and Serena after Ekans and Coughing were defeated, and the two were passed out on the ground. Pikachu tried to wake Ash up and then he did the same for Serena, but neither were showing a response. No, this couldn't be. Ash and Serena just narrowly escaped death on their first day only to meet death now. This wasn't meant to be. "Pika!" Pikachu cried. The nurse heard the cry of Pikachu as she opened the door. She saw the trio knocked out, but she had no time to tie them up as she heard Pikachu cry. Even though she was relieved the members of Team Rocket were knocked out, there were lives on the line. "Oh, My Arceus, the nurse cried out. She saw Akans and coughing unconscious, but what was even more terrifying was seeing Ash and Serena unconscious. Pikachu waved over to the nurse. Pikachu, are they okay? The nurse cried in panic. Pikachu said, showing her to Ash and Serena. She could catch the scent in the lobby that it was coughing smog, and then inspected the bodies to see that there were red marks on their torsos, knowing this had to be Akans's rap. She tried to see if there was a pulse on either of the two kids. They had one, but they were weak. All right, I'm going to perform CPR on the girl, the nurse said. I don't know if we can save them both. Pikachu realizes that time was not on their side. The nurse gave Serena chest compressions and started to perform CPR. Pikachu wanted to help too, and looking at the boy who tried talking to him, he took actions too. Pikachu jumped up and down hard as he could on Ash's chest since his hands were too small to bring any movement. Then Pikachu opened Ash's mouth and started to perform artificial respiration. Pikachu might have been a Pokemon with a small mouth, and not a human, but the truth is anything is better than nothing. Serena was starting to show some movement on her face. Her eyes slowly opened, and the honey blonde girl woke up. Huh, what happened? Serena weakly said as she was starting to sit up. The last thing I remember was Akans wrapping us, and coughing, unleashing poison gas on us, preventing us from breathing. Did I survive? Yes, but I don't know about your friend, the nurse told Serena. My friend, Serena said as she turned to see Pikachu trying to give CPR to Ash. Ash! Serena screamed as she scurried over to Ash. Ash, say something. Serena was shaking Ash around, and then she set him on the floor doing chest compressions on him. I don't think he's going to make it, the nurse said, showing tears in her eyes. No, he can't die. I won't let him. Serena cried as she started to give CPR. Serena was giving Ash mouth to mouth. All Pikachu could do was watch. It would be a miracle if Ash were to wake up. While they were watching, Jessie, James, and Meowth started to wake up from Pikachu's thunder shock. What just happened? Meowth said as he started to wake up. That Pikachu zapped us because of a ketchup bottle. Jessie retorted. Hey maybe we should go just in case that Pikachu comes back to finish the job, James said. Are you fucking nuts? Jessie exclaimed as she went to peek out to the lobby. We still got some Pokemon to steal, and besides Akans and Coughing has everything under control. Jessie saw that Akans and Coughing were knocked out, and judging by the looks of it, Pikachu must have done that. Jessie was starting to get a little shocked looking at the state of their Pokemon, but they ignored the CPR attempt Serena was giving. On second thought, we should go, Jessie weakly said, calling back her Akans. Agreed, James and Meowth agreed in union as James called back his Coughing. Jessie, James, and Meowth saw a nearby window to jump out through. They didn't want that Pikachu coming back for them, so they hurried out and ran far away from the Pokemon Center as possible. Do you think Proton is going to kill us for taking his sandwich? James asked. Yes, James, Jessie answered. Serena kept going with mouth to mouth for 30 minutes, but she was getting no response. Ash told Serena never give up until the end, and she wasn't going to stop until he woke up. I don't think he's going to wake up, the nurse said. He will. Serena screamed. Serena kept going with CPR, and after what may have been the longest half hour of her life, Ash Ketchum was starting to open his eyes. He had a pulse, and now the raven-haired Pokemon trainer was waking up. What happened? Ash asked in confusion as he woke up. Never give up until the end. Serena cried as she hugged Ash. Serena was crying tears of happiness as she saw Ash wake up and giving him a huge hug. Serena thought she was going to lose him, but he's alive thanks to her. The two finally stood up and were feeling fine right now. She was giving you CPR for 30 minutes, the nurse told Ash. I gave her CPR to wake her up first, so Pikachu was attempting to wake you up with the same methods. I think that's what made the huge difference saving you, even though it was very little. Pikachu was trying to wake me up. Ash asked. Yeah, and Pikachu was the one who saved you too from those crooks Pokemon because I heard Pikachu cry while the transfers were in process, and I saw that Akans and Coughing were knocked out, the nurse explained until she noticed that Akans and Coughing were gone. Speaking of Akans and Coughing, where are they? And where's Team Rocket? Ash angrily asked. The Pokemon storage room. I left it open, the nurse cried. Ash, Serena, Pikachu, and the nurse all ran to the back room to where the Pokemon were. Pokemon were still being transferred, but to their surprise there was no one in the room, and it looked like none of the Pokeballs were taken. That's strange, they didn't take any Pokeballs, the nurse said. What about Fennekin and Froakie? Serena asked. They're in the recovery room, I hope they didn't get in there, the nurse said as they all ran for the recovery room. Ash, Serena, Pikachu, and the nurse all arrived in the recovery room to see that nothing happened. Ash saw his Froakie inside a tube sleeping peacefully, and Serena saw her Fennekin in a tube sleeping calmly. There was another tube containing a Pidgey, and it was the Pidgey that Ash caught on his way to Viridian City. It was a relief, all their Pokemon were doing fine, and were not harmed in any way. It doesn't look like anyone was in here, Serena said in confusion. They wanted to steal Pokemon from here, but they didn't get anything, Ash said thinking, did they leave without taking anything? I guess so, but why, the nurse asked herself, they had a shot to take Pokemon like it was open season, and it was all my fault. However, they leave with nothing. It was strange for Jessie, James, and Meowth to flee the Pokemon Center without completing their missions. None would know that the real reason they escaped without getting anything was, so they didn't have to deal with that Pikachu again. It didn't matter if they got away or not, if the Pokemon were safe, that's what mattered. I'll call the police, if you two want to sit in here with your Pokemon, I won't mind, the nurse told Ash and Serena. I actually would like to be with Froakie right now, Ash told the nurse. Okay, the nurse said as she left the room. Pikachu on the other hand decided to stay in with Ash and Serena. Ash went up to the recovery tube which had Froakie in there. Ash had a smile on his face knowing that Froakie was doing alright after the Spearow attack, and he probably was happier that he didn't wake up during the ruckus with Team Rocket. Hey Froakie, how are you doing? Ash gently asked. Froakie was sleeping like a baby. If anything, Froakie was lucky to have a trainer like Ash. Despite all the trainers he went through, Froakie couldn't be any happier. You alright Fennekin? Serena asked with a smile. Fennekin was sleeping like a baby as well. Fennekin couldn't bring herself close to any humans after being affected as an egg from Siegfried's wrath. At the end of the day, Fennekin was happy to be with Serena. It looks like our Pokemon are doing fine, Serena said turning towards Ash. Yeah, including my newest addition, Ash said turning over to Pidge's tube where the tiny bird Pokemon was sleeping outside of her Pokeball. Well, if everything is peaceful right now, I say we call it a night. Okay Ash, Serena said looking at Fennekin. Hey Ash, do you think we could sleep in here tonight after all that happened? I agree with you on that Serena, I'd rather be with my Pokemon just in case they decide to come back, Ash said agreeing with Serena. Ash then felt a tug on his pant leg, it was Pikachu. Pikachu was the big hero in this whole fiasco. While none of them had a Pokemon to defend themselves with, Pikachu came to the rescue and saved the Pokemon Center. Pikachu was starting to think that maybe not all humans are bad after all. You, want to sleep with us tonight? Ash questioned Pikachu. Pikachu answered. Okay, you can sleep with us tonight, Ash said as Pikachu got on his lap. Pikachu could tell that Ash was a nice boy, and Serena was a nice girl too. Knowing how Serena cared for Ash, Pikachu was hoping for a way to return the favor to her as well. Just as they were about to go to sleep, Serena felt something strange around her waist. It felt like something wasn't there, so she went into her pockets only to find out that something wasn't there. Her money was in her pocket, and now it was gone. "Ash, the money my mom's gave me is gone," Serena said with a bit of a worry. "Check your pockets too to make sure yours is still there." Ash began to check his pockets, and unfortunately, he was a victim too. Ash's money was gone as well. "My money is gone too," Ash exclaimed, worried. "We might want to explain this to the police when they get here," Serena said. Did Ash and Serena get pickpocketed? Viridian City. "I'm so glad we got out of there before that Pikachu could try and kill us again," Meowth said. "But we failed the mission, we didn't get any Pokemon," Jessie said until her Pokeball opened. Ekans came out of the Pokeball regaining his co-conscious. Ekans was showing her something on his tail. "What is that, Ekans?" Jessie said, looking at what Ekans had. "Wait a minute, did you?" What no one knew was that during that time Ekans wrapped Ash and Serena, Ekans used his tail to reach into their pockets and see if they had anything of value. In Ekans' luck, he found 2,000 Poke Dollars in each of their pockets, resulting in 4,000 Poke Dollars. Team Rocket may have not gotten any Pokemon, but they got the twerp's money. "You stole the twerp's money?" Jessie questioned. "Oh Ekans, how I love you." Jessie gave Ekans a big hug as Ash and Serena never knew that the snake Pokemon stole their money. Despite Team Rocket's defeat, they still came out on top. "We could use this money to buy the boss his new white suit, and then keep the rest for ourselves," Meowth suggested. "That's a good idea, but we don't want another red wine incident happening again," James stated as he remembered when Proton threw Meowth at Giovanni, knocking his wine out of his hand, spilling onto his white suit. "I'm thinking, maybe a fancy orange suit." Viridian City Pokemon Center. The next day, the Viridian City police were investigating the Pokemon Center after last night's attack. Repairs were being made to the windows and other property that could have been damaged. They were relieved that none of the Pokemon were hurt, and that the two Pokemon trainers were all right. Ash and Serena mentioned about their money being stolen, and the police were generous enough to replace their stolen money. "Well, the most important thing is you kids are alive and all right," the officer told the kids. "Thank you, sir, but the real reason the Pokemon Center was saved was Pikachu right here," Ash said, showing the officers Pikachu as he now was starting to gain trust towards Ash and Serena. "Well done, Pikachu, I bet somebody would love to have you," the officer said. Pikachu then stood up and pointed to Ash, and surprisingly, he started to point to Serena. The nurse was coming up towards the officer and Ash and Serena. She saw Pikachu pointing to Ash and Serena. "I understand Pikachu pointing towards me, but why towards Serena?" Ash questioned. "I think I can explain that," the nurse said, looking at Ash and Serena. "Ash, Serena, it looks like Pikachu wants to come with you." "Really?" Ash asked, looking at Pikachu. "You want to be my trainer?" Pikachu said, nodding at Ash and Serena. "Wait a minute, you want Serena to be your trainer too?" Ash asked in confusion. "But Pokemon can only have one trainer." "It's actually true, but judging by Pikachu's instincts, I think Pikachu wants to repay the favor to Serena for trying to help Ash by helping her if necessary," the nurse explained. "Really, Pikachu, you want me to be your trainer too?" Serena asked in shock. Pikachu said, nodding at Serena. "So, Pikachu would be both of our Pokemon?" Ash asked in confusion. "It looks like it. Are you two okay with that?" the nurse asked. "Okay, me and Serena want to travel this world together, and would be awesome that we could actually have a Pokemon that we could both share," Ash said in excitement, "but the question would be who would put it in a Pokeball." Pikachu yelled in anger. "I don't think Pikachu wants to be in a Pokeball," the nurse told Ash and Serena. "You make a good point, it could get pretty confusing," Serena stated. Pikachu was pleased that Ash and Serena were going to use Pikachu together. They were going to have a blast together, and most importantly it could fill the void in Pikachu's heart not only with the experiences he had with trainers but losing his true love to Team Rocket. He will dearly miss that bottle of ketchup. "Welcome to the team," Ash said, giving a thumbs up. Pikachu replied. "Oh, and by the way, your Pokemon are in perfect health," the nurse said, giving Ash and Serena their Pokeballs back. "Thank you very much," Ash and Serena said in union. Ash was happy to have Froakie back with him, and now he could have a chance to try out his new Pidgey. Serena was very pleased to have Fennekin back with her, but now all she needed to do was to find something to do while she travels with Ash. "By the way, we never got to get that part for the Pokédex," Ash told the nurse. "Is it still there? I hope it's not damaged." "Oh yeah, we were so caught up with last night's events that I forgot about that," the nurse said. "Let me go get the package for you." Ash and Serena waited at the reception desk patiently. Ash pulled out the giant Pokédex as the nurse returned with the parcel containing the part. "Okay, here's that special part needed to operate the Pokédex," the nurse said, giving Serena the parcel. "Thank you very much," Serena said, giving a bow. Ash and Serena went over to the lobby and sat down on the couch. The lobby was minimally damaged, so it was still habitable to Pokemon trainers waiting. They were not going to call their moms about their near-death experience they had with Team Rocket. Hell, it would have been more frightening if they heard it on the news. "Go ahead and open it," Ash told Serena. Serena opened the parcel, and inside it was a sleeping orange bulb creature with blue eyes. Was this a part or some model? "Ash, I don't know what this is," Serena said in confusion, looking at the orange bulb as it rose out of the box. "Oh my Arceus! It's floating. That doesn't look like a Pokédex part, that looks like a Pokemon," Ash said in shock. "What was that thing? Was it really going to operate the Pokédex?" After the thing floated out of the box, it spotted the giant Pokédex Ash was holding. Without any hesitation, the thing dashed its way into the Pokédex. "Whoa! It went inside," Ash said in shock. If that wasn't enough of a shocker, the Pokédex was starting to move. The screen turned on and it had blue eyes and a face, and not only that, it had arms and feet. "What the?" Ash said in more shock as it started to float. "Whatever that thing is, must have possessed our Pokédex," Serena replied. The giant Pokédex floated and then came in front of Ash and Serena. It had a white and blue screen with a mouth and blue eyes. Pikachu couldn't even believe what he was seeing. "Greetings Ash Ketchum and Serena Gabina, I am Rotom Dex. I am powered by the Plasma Pokemon Rotom, and I will be happy to give you my service on your quest," Rotom Dex said, introducing himself. Ash and Serena couldn't believe that they just got a talking Pokédex. There you have it, that giant Pokédex was Rotom Dex, who will travel along with Ash and Serena on their journey, giving information on Pokemon. Pikachu has now joined the team, but I decided to make it interesting and make Pikachu not only Ash's Pokemon, but Serena's Pokemon too. I was trying my best to come up with a scenario to have Pikachu work with both of them in their goals. Like the anime, it won't ever go into a ball. Ash and Serena may have survived Team Rocket's Pokemon Center attack, but they got the last laugh when Akan stole their money. At least the police covered Ash and Serena paying them. Next time we will learn a bit about Rotom Dex, and we get to meet a new rival and an introduction to Pokemon contests. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and subscribe the channel for new interesting videos. Thank you.